Lou Fair successfully defended his world heavyweight championship.
Rogers strut. Kowalski's got him right where he wants him.
Dory Funk Jr. wanting that world heavyweight championship.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Simon Felder's Dusty Rhodes has just become the world heavyweight wrestling champion.
Presenting the greatest organization in wrestling history.
We always deliver on our promises at the National Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, but pretty hard, and look at what are you going to work now? Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of NWA, the Dynasty. We are small, and it doesn't sound like much of an achievement, but it certainly is, because just a few episodes ago, just a single episode ago, we were tiny. And now we've moved up to the small. We've now reached our achievement of getting 35 in our home base of Southeast America. And we have a long crawl to get to medium. But that's fine. Right now, small gives us a whole host of new opportunities, new possibilities for us in terms of our broadcasters and our momentum and a whole bunch of things that's going to be pretty good for us. But it also comes with some extra problems. So one of those problems is our production department. Now that we are being compared to other small companies, we are woefully inadequate in our production values. And this is going to be a huge money sink for us. So if we look here, we have several green, which we're better than, but several red, and some of these are wild. Like NXT is a small company with a majestic production value, which we're never going to get to. Now, if I recall, how this works is we're going to get a penalty per show as a percentage based on a percentage of the difference between the industry leader and us. So it's not that we're going to get it, like, so if it's a 3% penalty for production values, it's not going to be 3% because of Impact, and then another 3% for New Japan, and then another 3% for NXT. I believe it's just the difference between you and whoever is the top one. So, I believe NXT is the majestic. I think that's the top of the production value. So if we are, 2 spaces away, we're going to get a certain percentage point deduction in our popularity, because we're just not looking as good as what we're perceived as our competition. Kind of unfair to NXT is considered our competition in that regards, but that is the case. And we could double check that here. So production, we can see here, yeah. So falling below rivals in any of the 4 areas is bad, as you get penalized per show for looking worse in the competition. The greater disparity, the greater the penalty. So for production values and broadcasting, penalty will be 3% for being 1 level less, up to 7 for being 3 or more levels worse. For both live experiences and music, it's 2 to 6. Irrespective of how many levels you are worse, the total penalty can never exceed 10% of your final grade. So again, I think it's I don't think it stacks per company. I think it stacks based on whoever the industry leader is. So we got to look to upgrade some of these. So some of these are easier than others. Certainly upgrading to music, it's only going to cost $500 a show. Upgrading is free. That is fine. We probably want to upgrade one more to in-house. That's a $10,000 a month increase. Right now, we are better than semi-pro. No, music, generic. So we're at local. And the next step up is, so we're going to get a penalty for license. I don't know if it's worth it there. Broadcasting is going to cost us $10,000 now, and then another $7,500 a month. Currently, we're paying $2,500 a show. That's actually not that bad. This is actually about the same because we're running 4 shows plus maybe 1 pay-per-view every other month. So, not too bad. We're paying like, what's that? Is that $10,000 now? And actually, this would be cheaper. So might as well. Users, yeah. So there's an advantage to understanding better than others. There is no per show cost, but it just costs $7,500 a month. That is fine. It still puts us under industry standard, but I think it's only one lower. Industry standard instead would be $75,000 a month, which I'll take the 3% hit. Same thing, live event experiences here. It costs us $2,500 a show for this. If we were to upgrade here, it would be $7,500 a show. And right now, I'm not interested. I don't think. It would be upgrade to medium. Our NXT friends are the only ones that are hurting us here, and they're at large, and I don't think the penalty is worth that. Semi-pro production values right now is costing us $1,500 a month plus $500 a show. Once upgraded to professional, it will cost us $7,500 a month plus $2,000 a show. I'm willing to do that. That still is going to put us under both high quality and majestic, but I think high quality is going to be way too much per show, and too much per month for us. So we are going to get penalties. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. That's going to hurt us. And at some point we might have to look at financially what we bop. Do we get rid of this $42,000 in training? Maybe. Maybe we drop the Nightmare Factory. That kind of, we brought that over for Cody, so I don't know if he would be very thrilled by that. But we are still losing money, and probably not going to change anytime soon. We're still on IWTV, and I think our broadcast deal expires in 2 months, so we have a lot of time. They've also now allowed us to jump back up to 2 hours, which is my preferred booking, because it gives us enough time to have enough people and do some things and have a couple matches and help build some people up. Right now, we did not expand our network of potential broadcasters. I'm still working on adding some. I heard good news that the latest update of the Real World Chronicles Plus add-on actually is adding Peacock. So I won't have to add that. I'll be able to look at that, but I'm still looking to add my own. I don't know how balanced they're going to be. I'm working with somebody to assist me a little bit with that, but I'm going to try to add, like I said before, about maybe like a dozen to 2 dozen broadcasters, but mostly probably really focusing on smaller streaming platforms that are US focused and aren't really spotlighted a lot in these saves, because usually you don't think about them, but they have some potential. How many of those will apply to us? Probably only one, to be honest. So right now, with that in mind, I'm still eyeballing Mav TV as probably our best option. It's a commercial cable network. We've done business with them in previous saves, and they provide us a decent amount of capital. Right now, they are willing to negotiate, but not for a 2-hour show. They will only do it for an hour, but they would put us on early evenings. They would give us a pretty decent revenue split. So that's certainly an option. We also have the local Midwest free-to-air terrestrial, which is interesting, but I don't think we're interested in that too much right now. We're really eyeballing these major commercial networks. IWTV is good for what we're doing, but if we were to adjust it, I would want something. We're getting 60%, but it's not like we're getting a lot of money from them, and they're only on demand. So with that, they provide a great opportunity of very small requirements. For MAV, they're going to be asking for a lot more from us, which I can't show you right now. But, they're going to be wanting consistent performances, ones that I think we're capable of doing. But with that also comes more opportunity, more eyeballs, and more money, something we desperately need. We also need to re-up our pay-per-view. So that is certainly a thing. We also could jump to Fight TV, which is not the internet pay-per-view, but the subscription service. They are very small, and we have not really looked at what they would offer us. They would offer us a 2-hour show. They are still on demand. So similarly, they're bigger than IWTV. What would they provide us in terms of revenue? 5 they make us pay for that. I mean, I would rather just not pay a revenue split. So that's an option. Certainly. Minimum quality is a little bit less than what we're doing here, but they're also a much bigger, this IWTV is a very tiny subscription service versus Fight TV is a very small, and of course, MAV is actually considered tiny, but they are a commercial cable network. So if you look at the breakdown of how these broadcasters work, you'll kind of see that there are 4 types, and these combinations have different revenue running costs. Terrestrial broadcasters are the strongest and most desirable. Revenue levels are the highest. However, the running costs are also the highest. And then internet broadcasting is the weakest. Revenue and running costs are significantly lower. And cable sort of in the middle. So even though this is very small and this is tiny, we would probably get more eyeballs and more money through the commercial network than we would the internet subscription. But I'm not 100% sure about that. So if someone knows for sure, let me know. But I'm fairly certain that that's how it works, that a tiny commercial will still do better for us likely than a very small internet, because of just the way that they're broken out. Now, the advantage of Fight TV here, though, is you have a lot of coverage abroad, but we're not really concerned about abroad. We're really working on trying to build a U.S. promotion. Building an international one is just certainly not in the cards for us anytime soon, and anytime probably even within this save. So it's not something I'm worried about. I'm more focused on how do I get the most eyeballs to the U.S., and I don't know. I don't know which one would be better. But certainly I would opt for more money than more popularity, just to get more eyes on it. Now, that said, we do need to renegotiate for deals. I see no reason not to continue with Fight. Fight has given us, I think we were on demand before. I would like to get a little bit higher. They won't give us late night. They'll give us graveyard. They won't give us late evening, prime time. They give us early evening, but we would have to pay. It seems like the payment's the same. I'm fine with paying for a pay-per-view if it gets us more eyes. So for now, we're just going to start a 3-month contract. I think is totally fine. And, what we'll do is, so if we do unlimited, it means that technically we are locked into that 3-month. Let's for now just say that the deal's 3 months, and we're going to give you one pay-per-view within that 3-month period. That way we can renegotiate, and we can kind of keep ourselves a little bit more liquid, a little bit more fluid in how we negotiate here, I think will be better. I'm fine with that price, and I'd rather just get on a time block. So early evening would be like a 4 p.m. showing of our pay-per-view. It's going to go live instead of on demand, and we're going to get 40% of the revenue, but some of that's going to get eaten up into our cost of running the show. But we're only going to have one pay-per-view we're guaranteeing through Fight at that point, and hopefully at that point we maybe can get a better deal through them at some point in the future. So that is the plan. Do have some contracts. We've got to re-up Delilah Doom. I'm fine with 60. I'm going to go ahead and give her a written 6-month contract, just short term, so she doesn't wildly negotiate. I think that is the only other contract that we have to worry about. Camille is a manager without a client. We'll just remove that. We're just keep her as a worker for now. And everybody else just needs to... What's Robert King upset about? What are you upset about? I wanted a new gimmick change. You're a ref. We will... The cool referee. How about that? There you go. You're going to change that. And we'll make you less upset about your staff member role. Moron. Okay. Anyways. That is it. Let's go ahead. Let's get to NWA Worldwide. All right, guys. We are back. And, yeah. I got some interesting things that just happened in between this save, and we're probably going to play those out on this show. Right now, though, we have a couple issues. One of our referees has gotten pregnant and will be out in a month, so we'll have to get a new ref. Not a huge deal. We also have Jarek 120 currently out injured after that collarbone injury. Should not be a big deal. Because mostly probably we're not going to use them very much anyways, but still unfortunate that the injury happened. We'll, of course, do some meddling, and we will continue to try to fix this Nick Aldis situation. We'll go with Ricky Starks. Come on. Has a fairly high chance of succeeding. Can we fix it? No. We're still going to be exactly where we were. Pick the best option. It's going to be GPT Studios. Last time we were there, while it was not a fantastic show, it was a sellout, which always gives us a bit of a boost. So hopefully this show is a little bit better in the ratings and is also a sellout. I think it is. 213. We may eventually have to look at buying the studio and expanding it, or venturing out further. So, anyways, that said, let's go ahead, let's book our show. Catch you guys on the flip. Alright guys, we are back with another episode of Worldwide. Hull, full 125 minutes plus 3 pre-show matches. Only 2 Strongbow Memorial tournament matches. It's getting a little bit more complicated, so I just want to make sure that I don't screw anything up in the booking. But I think I have well, we don't have the finals yet, but we're getting very close to the end of the tournament here. Couple matches left. A few people that are pretty much eliminated. Chris Adonis completely eliminated. Homicide eliminated at this point. I think he has 2 matches left. He only has 2 points. Joe Axel Henning could come back, but he needs a run of 5 matches to tie. And even then, not quite sure if that would happen. We will have to see. Be very interesting to see how it all shakes out here. But we will find out. Let's go ahead and let's move on into the show. All right, starting the pre-show off, I just wanted to give Kerry Morton some opportunity. He's booked. He's shown up in our creative as a potential, a potential star for us. So giving him some wins on Dark here might be beneficial. In-ring performance isn't great, but again, popularity is a very important factor when it comes to these type of things. So I really wanted to see if he could do something, and maybe we can build him up on pre-shows and partner him with somebody else, and potentially build him up. But for now, we're gonna have him do some exhibition matches on our Dark matches, and hopefully find some people that maybe he jives with, he has good chemistry with. And just kind of keep working that. Has a third generation gimmick, so he's a person that potentially could come into conflict with some of the undercard of the Dynasty, right? Like maybe a Joe Henning feud with him might not be bad for the undercard. We need to build him up a little bit first, though, because at a 25, it's not great. So I'm not thrilled with that, but it's doable. We can get him there. If the game's saying he's got potential, it's because there's some upside to him that we just need to develop. Keeping some of our women's division fresh, Delilah Doom and Kylie Ray versus Kota Kai and Marty Bell in our pre-show. Kota Kai and Marty Bell defeat Delilah Doom, Kylie Ray, obviously pinning Delilah Doom, giving a little bit more momentum back to Kota Kai here. And not much to say about it. It's a pretty decent match overall. Everybody did pretty okay. Marty Bell being the weak link of the four here. And in our Strongbow Memorial match here, we have Jacob Fatu and Colby Carino in the pre-show. And to keep Colby alive a little bit, and to keep Fatu in line, we give Colby a win here. An unexpected win. Colby's kind of a dark horse wrestler. I don't expect him to win this tournament, but I do want him to leave as a potential decent mid-carder. So having a good showing is important. In terms of in-ring performance, he's very solid at a 52. Psychology issues here on display, which is not shocking. Obviously Fatu has a 70, so really this probably should have been on the show and not the other one that we have on here, but that's fine. And ultimately a decent match, and gives Colby a little bit more legitimacy, keeps Fatu in line with I think 5 wins, so we don't want him to go spiraling above. We kind of want to keep the heat in the tournament about a 3-4 way tie until we get to the final. So we're kind of trying to manage that. And a 62 is not bad. Let's start the show itself. We start with a pretty good opener with Cody coming to the ring. And he starts with a promo. Before we can really get into the promo, Ace quickly interrupts. Ace Austin's still got this hell-bent. He wants to take Cody down. He wants his title back. He's starting to feel like Cody is protecting himself with the Dynasty, which certainly in some capacity he is. But Ace Austin's also being foiled by his own team, right? The last couple matches have been the Smoking Aces under-delivering for him. So he wants another match. He wants another title shot. He knows he can beat him. Cody gives in, listen, Ace, if you want another title shot, you can have it, but you got to beat me first. You got to show that you can earn it. And I'm going to show you that I don't even need the Dynasty to do it. And he says, my group's going to be busy tonight. They have other business to attend with. But I want to teach you something important, Ace. I want to teach you that in wrestling, you can have a group to surround you, and it can be a powerful tool, but it can also be a massive crutch. I don't need my people to beat. kid. But I suspect you need yours to beat me. But I'm going to show you tonight that you still have a lot to learn. And maybe with enough time and a right tutor, you'll finally get it. So, Cody's not dismissing Ace. He sees potential in him. Maybe he sees a little bit of him in him. But he's kind of trying to say that, like, smoking aces is a crutch to you. And Cody's saying that his group is not about a crutch. It's about dominance, right? There's a difference. Cody doesn't need his group. His group just makes it easier. But he's saying Ace does need his group. So we have a main event set. They have great chemistry, or they improvise very well. Cody and Brandy out there also had great chemistry. The Dynasty storyline advances. A pretty good opener for the show. And in terms of the undercard, decent match here. We have the New Horsemen versus the Clone Dynasty. New Horsemen defeat Clones in 15 minutes. Brian Pillman Jr. submitting Eddie. And Brock being the weak link here. I mean, even as a weak link, at a 35 in a tag team is not too bad. The point of this tag team is to kind of bring them up. And overall, they're doing pretty good. Pillman's got a 49. Brock has a 36. Gets us to a 48 after having the right tag team facing them. And I'm happy with that. That's totally in line with where I would want them to be. We're gaining heat for the New Horsemen storyline. Hopefully the goal is to build them up to be a competitor against the tag team divisions. We should probably at some point bring the Von Erichs into the fold here and start to do a story. But I'm kind of going to give Horsemen a little bit more wins here. And just to kind of give them a little bit more legitimacy before they go after it. Our tag division's not the strongest, so I kind of, before we start to pull people in from the Alliance, I would like to kind of build these guys up a little bit and kind of help develop it. We have some other options, like Mance Warner. We had him in a tag that seemed like it went pretty well, and I think we'll probably do that at some point as well. But starting to try to just develop in-house some interesting tag teams that could be beneficial. Arn Anderson also ringside doing some good work. Yeah, and this is the one that, for story purposes, I had this on the show, but I kind of understand that it wasn't going to do very well, and I probably should have had the one with Fatu on it, to be honest. But that is my mistake. I tend to book for the story over the performance to my own detriment, and that's fine though. Ultimately, the goal here is to tell a story, and the story was about Joe Henning, Axel Henning here, now joining the Dynasty. And we got him and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks definitely a favorite to be in the finals, but gets an upset here. He gets defeated by Joe Henning in 14 minutes. He gets a McGillicudder after following interference by the Knights, who show up to support Axel. He's a member of the Dynasty now, and that's going to change things for him in this tournament. And Ricky could not deal with the interference, gets a big L here that's going to hurt him. And he's still a front runner, but I think he's still tied at 5 with everybody else. This gives Joe an important win. Joe's in-ring performance actually is pretty solid at 48. Overall, not too bad. Got the crowd hotter. And Starks and Henning had great chemistry. So we can that's actually great because we could go back to this at some point. Is this a barn burner that got our segment rating up? No, but it's an important part of the story. So I'm okay with it. And Joe here gets an important win in the tournament. What's her gimmick change? Oh, right, our ref here, who has a awful rating as a staff member. We're gonna give him to the cool ref gimmick, and it's great. People, I don't know, he came out there, maybe he had bad boy vision, he had glasses on or something, and now he's the cool ref. People like him. I don't know why, but there you go. We have Camille versus Jamie Hayter in a really atrocious match. I expected this to go much better. Jimmy Hayter defeats Camille in 11 minutes. This was just kind of like not a squash match, but just a match to give Hayter a win here, build up a story. It's not great. She wins, beats Camille, gives her a curb stomp, and then we move on to her winning, going up to the ramp, and then Allison Kay attacking her and hitting her repeatedly with chair shots before putting her arm into the machinations of the chair itself and kind of getting it pinned in and stomping it and seemingly injuring Hayter's arm. So kind of building up that Allison's not too thrilled about Hayter's arrival and show of dominance in NWA, and maybe is looking a little fearful for her title and is willing to weaken her for the inevitable match that will be coming up. We gain heat for their story, and overall it does pretty okay. That's weird. I think that's wrong. I think that was supposed to be a different match, but apparently Ricky did double duty and also fought Chris Adonis. So, jeez, I must have put that in during a draft. So how I book these is I often kind of draft it first and then retweak it, and I must have had a different vision for what was going on. Or I had Chris Adonis fighting somebody else in the tournament. That's fine. Ricky did double duty tonight. Ricky's at 6. Ricky gets his win back after that L earlier. Apparently he came out and was like, I'm going to do it again. Let's go. Ricky Starks doesn't care, and he did totally fine. He had a 60. Chris Adonis had a 40. Actually gave us a 48, which is not too bad. Sure. It's not intentional at all. Got the crowd hotter, though. So the crowd had no problem seeing Ricky twice tonight. Old two-time Ricky comes out for 2 matches every show. That's his new gimmick. And then we have Aaron Stevens versus a former partner, Danhausen. This was a comedy match. Cools down the crowd a little bit, gives him a bit of a breather. Aaron obviously defeats Danhausen in 5 minutes with a terminus. He's going after some of his former competitor or former friends now, as he had turned on Colt Cabana. Gave the crowd a breather, did pretty good here. 48's about what we would expect from this. And then afterwards, Aaron kind of calls out Colt. Colt comes out to listen, but he's cutting a promo about his actions, kind of explaining his mindset, what's going on in his head here. And Aaron says, all I've ever wanted in my career was just to be respected. In all of my career, every opportunity that I carved out for myself, it was snatched away by being turned into a joke by somebody else. Yeah, on my free time, I used to read, study history. It's a passion of mine. And then when somebody backstage found out about it, I was told I was too smart and given a goofy gimmick. I was then told that I needed to play dress up and act like an idiot around movie stars. Then a bunch of buffoons I had to sell to, and their only job was to read words on a page and play pretend, and I was supposed to be their job guy. Finally, when that was over, I thought we were going to move on and finally my career would really start, but instead I was told I needed to be a body double for a moronic reality TV star. I came here for it to be different. I thought I would show what I'm really capable of, and I thought I made a friend along the way. But instead, I realized that friend was just another anchor to my career. Colt, you embody the worst that wrestling has to offer. You never take anything seriously. You don't take yourself seriously. You don't take your friends seriously. You don't take this industry seriously. You treat life and your career like a joke. You're fat and content. And it shows, because your career is a big joke. And it's time for me to give it your punchline. So Aaron calling out Colt. He wants to show him that he can best Colt Cabana, that Colt Cabana is content in his career, and Aaron is not. Aaron is hungry, and he is looking to cast aside the humor of his previous life, the comedy gimmick routine, and become no laughing matter. So this was pretty good. Got the crowd hotter. And leads into a match that's actually pretty okay. Mance Warner versus Tim Storm Jr. We got Big Hoss, Black Hat Tim Storm Jr. Being a jerk and beating up Mance Warner here, and just pretty okay. Gains heat for his storyline. Tim Storm Jr., part of the factory, still moving up the ladder, getting some wins, becoming a prominent character. He's by the way, his disposition now, or his perception now, a star. He's moved up to star already. And a 46 is not bad. So he's doing pretty good. I think at this point, we could actually put Tim Storm Jr. in matches with some people that are real performance drivers and get a pretty solid match out of them. So I'm really happy with that. We get a 49 here. Got the crowd hotter. Tim Storm gets an important win. And then we move on to our main event, which is pretty okay. Ace versus Cody. If Ace wins, he gets a title shot. It had superb wrestling. It had a great heat. Ultimately, though, Cody defeats Ace in 20 minutes of pinfall. A crossroads is given upon Ace after botched interference by Zicky Dice, who got onto the apron, tried to distract and interfere Cody. It failed, ended up putting Ace in a precarious spot, which then led him to lose. Cody predicted it. He was right that the Smoking Aces were a crutch that made Ace weaker, and ultimately lost here because of it. And had 64, pretty solid. Afterwards, Ace is despondent. He's raging at Zicky Dice, yelling at him in the corner as the Smoking Aces cost him the match. Cody grabs a microphone, humiliating Ace Austin about this loss. And he goes, "See, kid, even with your little after-school club, you're no challenge for a second-generation champion. You've got grit. I will give you that. But you use your gaggle of goons as a crutch. Yeah, maybe one day you'll find a group that supports you. But on to better things. Is there really nobody in this company that could be a true challenge to me? I've already bested Eddie Kingston. I've bested my brother. And I've bested the self-proclaimed ace of the NWA. Do I have to do a world tour and take this title around to find a real challenge?" And as he says that, new entrance music hits and a new person debuts. And a former co-worker of Cody shows up, now called Remy Zane, and a former generic luchador, arrives at NWA, hears the call to action, and closes the show with a crowd freaking out, surprised by the random debut of a former star, as they stare each other down in the ring. Sammy gets his underdog gimmick, and it's rated as great. We gain heat for the storyline, and ends the show with a pretty solid 70 segment rating here. So we managed in between our sim save as we moved up Sami Zayn, Remy Samelik, whatever his real name is, El Generico, who we're calling Remy Zayn, kind of combining his real name and his WWE name, pretty common post WWE career move. He was willing to join us. Not only was he willing to join us, he was willing to join us exclusively for a year. So we have him locked in, a major talent, and now the next competitor against Cody here, and should be a pretty strong one. I'm excited to see what we can do with him, and have him join NWA. And let's see how this ending puts the show. I think we're going to be like at a 58. 54, so a little bit worse. We probably would have been higher if it wasn't for these negatives. which is going to now be a nagging issue for us, as we just are not going to be able to kick this problem of having these production issues, and because it's just going to be too expensive to deal with. But an awesome, I don't think we've ever had a number that green in a promo, but overall a pretty solid show. All right, we got Worldwide Reports. The show was excellent, not surprising there. So overall, pretty good. Viewing figures, 20,000 viewers. Very solid for us there. Pretty happy with that, actually. And still losing money. Still going to be losing money here. But we're getting more eyes on the business. Broadcaster revenues, actually not that bad. Looks like it's just from advertising, though. We're not getting any broadcaster money. But the ad revenue is not looking too bad. If you look at it as here, if this grows per show, we might be making a substantial amount more money. It really depends on how much we get out of it. But that's certainly not too bad. Sponsorships, we also should be getting a little bit more money, but I'm expecting some random taxes to come in and hurt us. Production costs, though, already are going to be pretty substantial this month, just from upgrade costs. And we'll have to see how our per show costs affects us. It didn't seem too bad, though. But certainly something that we're going to have to worry about as we continue to dip into our war chest. But that's why it's there. Anyways, that is it for me today. Again, if you guys have not yet, please think about subscribing and notification bell for the channel. We are very close to 2,000 subscribers. And with that will come a new series that I'm very excited about. But that is it for me today. Thank you all. Have a great one.